Option number two for the city face is to grab a face of someone that you know or a face of your own. So just to show you kind of how this would work, it doesn't have to be one of these cutout faces. It could be a face that's already on a body, similar to, I don't know, let's say this one, which looks a little weird, or even this one, right? So you click on the image. Take the image after you've clicked on it, click and drag into your folder. Once you've done that, you're going to right-click on that file and open with Photoshop. Remember, the first stop is in Photoshop, just like the last option. Then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my crop tool. I'm going to just kind of crop out Reggie Miller's face there. Just go to Drake's face for this example. Do a quick little cutout of his head so it's not attached to all the dark parts of his clothing here. Use one of your selection tools, maybe the magnetic lasso, one of these options. By doing it this way, you can obviously use anybody that you'd like. Makes it a little bit more fun. Of course, you could use a picture of yourself as well. This is not the greatest cutout, but you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so that looks okay, except I need to kind of fix it a little bit. I'll take the lasso tool, take the little, hold the shift key to get a little bit extra here. All right, so I make the cut out of the face. I'm going to right-click on this and do Layer via Cut. And you'll notice it cuts it out onto its own layer here in the Layers panel. I'm going to hide the background. So it kind of looks like that. This is a little sloppy. Maybe I'll just kind of cut that off a little bit. It's a little bit better. Maybe from here. Okay. Now, the steps are, go to Filter, go to Blur, go to Gaussian Blur. Blur this out a bit. Maybe 3 at the most, somewhere in between like what I've done right there. I'm going to back it up just a little. 2.5, right? Everyone's is going to be a little different. Sometimes you got to give it a try and see what works for you. Go to Image, Adjustments, Threshold. You're going to get the black and white version. As you pull the slider to the left, it's going to get more white, or to the right. And you got to kind of judge what works best for you. So it still looks like the person. Now, if this one doesn't, let's just say, I can go step backward. And I can do less blur. So when I go to Blur and Gaussian Blur, I'll just do less. I'll do like 1.5. And now when I do Image Adjustments and Threshold, you'll see that I get more detail. Something like that might work better for you. And you hit OK. Now, once you've done this, all you're going to need to do is go to File, Save As. You're going to save it again as a JPEG. Save it to your folder. Save it. Then, when you go back into SketchUp and you have your new file in SketchUp, same steps as option 1, import, make sure it says use image here in the format, all supported image types, and you're going to go and find that one that we just found, which was this one. We just made it in Photoshop, import, click and drag, and then remember I had said camera, standard views, top, or command 1. And now, oops, I forgot one step. You know what? I'm going to delete that for a moment. I forgot one step in Photoshop, and that is when I had this up. Sorry, not this one. My bad. This one. Okay, the one I just made black and white. One thing I forgot to do, which I really should have done, is double-click this layer, bring down the opacity of this layer so it's light like that. All right? If you need to, you can add a solid color underneath of white and put that under. So it looks just kind of faded, almost gray like that, right? Then you do a file save as. Then you save it as a JPEG back to your folder, hit OK, close it out, and go back to SketchUp. And once you're in SketchUp, go to File, go to Import. And now that it's faded down a little bit, it should be this one, faded version. Hit Import, click and drag. I'm already in the camera view of top, like that. And now it's going to be the same thing. The only difference is you don't have to just use this straight pencil tool. You can if you'd like, but you could also use this tool. So it allows you to draw rounded edges and things like that. So I could go like this, literally, and just sort of follow it. It's almost as if you're just tracing what you see. All right, now you might not be perfectly accurate, but you can get very, very close to what it's going to look like. All right. I'm just going to kind of close it up right here just to show you something. I close it up. I get this nice face. Obviously, I'm not done. Even if I start here, I could click and drag. I'm holding down the button, by the way, and I can continue to add parts to the face. And even if I close it up here, this line now that separates them, I could take the eraser tool to it and just hit on that and be done with it. So you could leave little lines like that, or you can erase them, and you continue to draw the entire thing. And then the end works out the same way. So that's not a perfect one right there, but it's pretty sloppy, but you get the idea, I hope. Take the tool, get rid of all this. Good, 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 perfect. And then, just like I said before, you can take those tools, you begin to pull things up, similar to that. All right? And that's where we're going to kind of leave off. And just like I said in part one, you can color the buildings, you can add things, you can do offset tools to this stuff. There's a lot that you can do, all right, to kind of make it work. You can even create buildings off of this. So you can do offsets of offsets of offsets of offsets, you know? And then you can pull those things individually with the push-pull tool to get the kind of pieces that you're hoping for. Got the idea? All right, sounds good.